As humans, it's often easy to feel weak, vulnerable, and frail, especially when surrounded by forces beyond our control or understanding. In seeking strength and comfort, we create stories of gods, beings with great power and influence, something beyond our control, but within reach of understanding. And once you can understand something, who's to say control is out of reach? The concept of God is everywhere in our culture and society, from religious beliefs, ancient mythology, depictions in art, entertainment, and even video games. The funny thing about God in video games is that they often exist as the antagonist to the player. This may be due to some deep-seated desire for control that video games can often provide. God, of course, represents everything beyond our understanding and command, and video games, often being the ultimate power fantasy, prompt us to find an enemy in God, even going so far as allow you to slay a god, also known as Deicide or Divinicide. You can't talk about gods in video games without discussing God of War. In this game, you take on the role of Kratos, a Spartan warrior who, in his quest for revenge, must kill his way through the Greek pantheon. But what makes God of War interesting is how the lines between God and man are blurred. Kratos has human traits that make him relatable, for example his sadness and rage over losing his family. However, throughout the game, he gains godly abilities and power. The game even ends with Kratos becoming the new God of War. The gods in the game also have human traits such as greed and pride, but these human traits in gods don't necessarily serve to make them relatable. Rather, they bring the gods down to the level of a human, making them deserving of being slayed. And nothing is more human than dying. Throughout the game, Kratos becomes more godlike, and the gods become humanized in the sense that they lose their godlike status by being killed. This shows us the idea of God is not necessarily set in stone, allowing the player to achieve ultimate power, while also displaying the human traits that exist in gods themselves. Sometimes the idea of what a god can be is more abstract. For example, the Great Ones in Bloodborne. Great Ones are not technically God, at least not in a biblical sense, but they do serve as mysterious beings beyond human understanding. The Great Ones are also horrifying. They fill the world of Bloodborne and me with fear and dread. And the interesting thing is that you do not necessarily kill them. It seems they are multiversal, and by slaying them they are simply taken to another plane of existence. But to face them is to conquer your fear. The satisfaction that comes with taking down and being far beyond yourself is extremely liberating. In Bloodborne, you face gods, not to become one yourself, but to prove that even a god has no jurisdiction over your life. Another implication of God is the idea of morality and structure. Many religions use God's word as the moral framework for life, but the structure that comes along with that can be perceived as oppressive to many people. In Hades, a roguelike where you play as Zagreus, the son of Hades, the god of the underworld, these themes are explored. The ultimate goal of the game is to escape hell and defeat your father. Zagreus repeatedly attempts to escape, and, due to the nature of roguelike games, the themes of structure and convention are reinforced. Because roguelikes involve repeating the same thing over and over again, it really adds to Zagreus' story of trying to escape an oppressive system and defy his destiny. And change is made very slowly, with Zagreus finally achieving his goal of seeing the surface world when he defeats his father. Interestingly, Hades is not necessarily a pure enemy to Zagreus. While they have a complicated relationship, they are still family and even grow closer as the game continues. Hades uses the idea of Divinicide to strengthen the setting of the game and ask moral questions of the player. Divinicide is a common trope in many video games, and I believe this is because it represents our want for control and desire for liberation. As humans, there is so much outside of our jurisdiction, and our influence on the forces of nature is still extremely limited, at least on an individual basis. In the world of video games where we become the ultimate deciders, a god exists as a challenge to that sovereignty. Through the act of slaying a god, we reach our ultimate goal, achieving power, control, and freedom.